The cabin lights were dimmed to a soft blue glow as the aircraft cut through the night sky. It was 3 a.m., that strange hour when the world felt paused, suspended between yesterday and tomorrow. Most passengers were asleep, heads tilted against windows, blankets tucked under chins, dreams drifting somewhere far below 30,000 feet. In seat 12C, a young girl slept deeply. Her hoodie was pulled low over her forehead, headphones resting loosely around her neck. She hadn't moved since takeoff. To everyone else, she looked like just another exhausted passenger, quiet, forgettable, invisible. No one knew her name. No one imagined she mattered. Up front, behind the reinforced cockpit door, something was terribly wrong. Captain Harris H. He'd been the first to feel it, a sudden heaviness in his chest, a ringing in his ears. He reached for the oxygen mask, but his vision blurred. His co-pilot slumped forward seconds later, unconscious before he hit the controls. The warning. Tim tried to speak, but there was no one left awake to listen. The aircraft continued on autopilot, steady and silent, flying a straight line through the dark. In the cabin, a flight attendant named Maya noticed, God. Her ears popped sharply, pressure changing too fast. She paused in the aisle, steadying herself on a seat back. "Is it just me?" she whispered. A man near the window rubbed his temples. A child whimpered in her sleep. Something unseen was spreading, slow, dangerous, invisible. Maya rushed to the cockpit and knocked. No answer. She knocked harder. Still nothing. Her heart began to pound. She entered the emergency code and pulled the door open. Both pilots were slumped in their seats, unconscious. The altitude alarms blinked red. "Oh my God," Maya whispered. She tried shaking the captain. No response. She grabbed the intercom, her hands trembling as she spoke into the cabin. "Ladies and gentlemen, please remain calm." The lie tasted bitter. Within minutes, the situation escalated beyond the plane itself. Air traffic control had noticed the aircraft wasn't responding. Its path was steady but wrong, slightly off course, drifting into restricted airspace. A decision was made. 2 F-22 Raptors were scrambled into the night. High above the clouds, the fighters closed in, sleek hoodows against the stars. Their pilots scanned the aircraft, searching for signs of movement in the cockpit. Nothing. At 3:14 a.m., a sharp voice cut through the static on the emergency frequency. "Unidentified commercial aircraft. This is U.S. Air Force escort. Respond immediately." The Sage echoed through the cockpit speakers and into the cabin. Passengers stirred. "What's happening?" someone asked. "Are we in danger?" Another voice trembled. Maya swallowed hard and grabbed the intercom again. "Please, stay seated. We're handling a technical issue. But panic doesn't wait for explanations." Man stood up. Another began praying loudly. Oxygen masks dropped from the ceiling, swinging gently like silent warnings. And still, seat 12C remained asleep. The girl didn't stir as the plane shook lightly from turbulence. She didn't flinch when the oxygen mask dropped inches from her face. Outside, one of the F-22 pilots leaned closer to his canopy, staring at the cockpit. "No response," he said. "Pilots may be incapacitated." The command came swiftly. "Attempt cabin contact." The emergency radio crackled again, this time louder, clearer, filling the entire aircraft. "If there is anyone aboard with flight training, identify yourself now." Silence. Maya's breath hitched. Her legs felt weak. She looked down the aisle, scanning faces, fearful, confused, helpless. No one moved. The F-22 pilot tried again, his voice now edged with urgency. "We need someone capable of communication, anyone." The seconds stretched. Then something unexpected. A soft rustle. In row 12, the girl in 12C shifted. Her fingers twitched. Her breathing changed. She slowly pulled one headphone off her ear. The noise in the cabin finally reached her consciousness. She opened her eyes. Not wide with panic, not confused, focused. Her gaze moved calmly from the dangling oxygen mask to the shaking passengers, then toward the cockpit door. She sat up straight. Maya noticed her and froze. There was something about the girl's expression, not fear, not shock, awareness. The radio crackled once more. "Passenger with capability, identify yourself." The girl stood. People stared. A man grabbed her arm. "Sit down. This isn't the time." She gently pulled free. "It is," she said quietly. Her voice didn't shake. She walked forward, past the murmurs, past the prayers, past the rising chaos, stopping near the cockpit door. Maya looked at her, hope and disbelief colliding. Do you know how to help?" The girl met her eyes. "Yes." Outside, the F-22 pilot noticed movement in the cabin, a figure near the cockpit door. "Command," he said slowly. "We've got someone up front." The girl reached for the cockpit intercom. Her finger hovered for just a moment. Then she pressed it, and at 30,000 feet, with 2 fighter jets watching, unconscious pilots in the cockpit, and 180 lives hanging in the balance, a calm female voice filled the radio. "Aircraft responding." The F-22 pilot straightened. Then came the question that changed everything. "Identify yourself," he said. Pause. "State your call sign." The question echoed through the cockpit speakers, through the cabin, through the girl herself. "State your call sign." She closed her eyes briefly, not in fear, but in memory. Then she opened them again, steady and clear. "Night Sparrow," she said. The reaction was immediate. In the sky beside the aircraft, the F-22 pilot stiffened. His wingman glanced over, surprised. "That's not a civilian call sign. On the ground, command centers lit up. Voices overlapped. Someone replayed the transmission twice, then a third time. Pilot muttered, "Night Sparrow." The girl repeated calmly, "Request guidance. Pilots are unconscious. Cabin oxygen compromised." The professionalism in her voice cut through the panic like a blade. Maya stared at her, stunned. Who are you?" she whispered. "No time," the girl replied gently. "Please secure the cockpit and keep the cabin calm." She stepped fully inside the cockpit and strapped herself into the co-pilot's seat. The blinking warnings didn't frighten her. They spoke a language she already understood. She reached for the oxygen system, adjusted the flow, then checked the pilot's vitals. Shallow breathing, but breathing. "They'll wake up," she said, mostly to herself. "We just need altitude." The F-22 pilot came back on the radio. His tone changed. Respect replacing suspicion. "Night Sparrow, this is Raptor 1. Confirm your training." She exhaled slowly. "Former Air Force cadet, advanced flight simulation. Emergency system certified. Not current on commercial type, but I can follow instructions." Silence followed. "Then that's enough." The aircraft shuddered slightly as it began a controlled descent under her direction. The autopilot resisted at first, then obeyed. Down in the cabin, oxygen masks hissed. Panic softened into cautious hope. People watched the girl through the open cockpit door, whispering her name like a prayer. "She's just a kid," someone said. "No," another replied softly. "She's not." At 18,000 feet, one of the pilots stirred. Captain Harris coughed, gasping as oxygen filled his lungs. His eyes fluttered open, unfocused. "What?" he croaked. "You're safe," the girl said. "Don't move yet." He looked at her, confusion sharpening into disbelief. "Who are you?" "Someone who woke up at the right time." The F-22 escort stayed close, guiding the descent. Ground control rerouted airspace, cleared a runway, and rolled emergency crews into position. At 10,000 feet, the captain regained full consciousness. The co-pilot followed minutes later. Captain Harris stared at the controls, then at the girl beside him. "You kept us alive." She nodded once. "You'll take it from here." "I insist you stay," he said, "at least until landing." She considered it, then shook her head. "You're back. My job's done." She unstrapped herself and stepped out of the cockpit. The cabin erupted, not in cheers but in quiet awe. Some people cried openly, others simply stared, overwhelmed. Maya grabbed her hand. "What's your real name?" The girl smiled faintly. "Does it matter?" The aircraft touched down safely just before dawn. Fire trucks lined the runway. Medics rushed aboard. Officials followed. Questions followed. But the girl slipped back into seat 12C, pulled her hoodie up, and closed her eyes. By the time authorities reached her, no phone, no ID. The seat was empty. Row, no record. Only a folded note left behind, tucked into the seat pocket. It read, "Thank you for trusting me." That morning, headlines called it a miracle. Experts argued on television. Social media exploded with theories. But two F-22 pilots, debriefed in a silent room, shared a look when asked the final question. Did she say anything else? Raptor 1 answered quietly. She sounded like she already knew how it would end. And somewhere far from the noise, Night Sparrow slept, finally at peace.